MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Gura misga ubula, naba maridi gakela, Bismillah. MashaAllah, MashaAllah.
So we will be building, inshallah, this corpus of the Saho language, which is synthetically annotated. What does mean? Simply, this is a big terminology, but understand in a way that a computer can read our language. Because if we are human beings, and when you are telling we have in our mind the most sophisticated computer, so we can express and understand that because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us for that. But we need some less powerful, like computer, can also read and understand our language. So we need to build in a way that a computer can interpret the voice of Saho speaking and then transcribe or understand what she means when they are. And we will be, as I was saying, making available for everyone because of we need to give this opportunity other people to work on. Then we will build the IT applications that we need, like spelling checker, automatic translation in other language, voice to data, data to voice, all those things we need to make because of we need. So I want to go a little bit further to talk about another category of information that I need. Then I will show you how you can put this information to the system. We want that the computer translator and the voice to data have different voices, like for our kids, for the young people, for the elder generation, but also the words that these people use it in different times of the time. So we need that the balance that we are looking for, so the information that today, Saho, we have really small number of information published in Saho language. It's not like the Somali and other languages where we have hundreds and millions of books published in that language. So we don't have that. So we cannot even choose. So whatever we get, we will put on the system. But if we have in mind to redistribute in subcorpora, which means divide in different files, in different publications coming from different types in a way that it doesn't look like in the only subcorpora. If it is by era, if we just collect how young people today speak in social media, we will be losing our poetry. But if we also put only in the poetry and the old generation speaking way, we are cutting off our young people from our system. So we need to balance in era, get some of the voices, some of the documents, some of the information that has been developed a very long time, and then those who are developed today, and the way that young people today write and speak on TikTok or on Facebook or on Instagram. We need to go back after them and then go to TikTok and see how they are speaking and collect the data in a way that the system that we are developing helps also them and connect to us instead of disconnecting our children from us. So we need to have different text regions, like, I know that we are running out of time. The genres, like whether it's a poetry, whether it is readalist, whether it is just novelist, the kind of literature, if we differentiate, will be good. I have seen that there is not much regional variation in Saho, but what exists that people write differently because of the alphabet and the way that we write is not stabilized. Somali has the same problem, so it's not only for the Saho. So if we see, since we are interested on the word, if that word is written in the Arabic alphabet in Saho, we need it. It doesn't mean that we need only those written in Latin, because if we are interested about the word, not the way it is written. I don't know, I don't think you can see from there, but we already translated, and this is an amazing work the two Ahmedis, mainly Ustad Ahmed Saad has done, but I will do some examples. I hope it will be visible. But we have Qamus, if you see at the top, I don't know if it's visible. we have Qamus, the dictionary that today contains 4,650 words, which is the basic words, and already the whole system is passed, is in translated, and it's in Saho. We have 4,737 words that is corrected, that are coming from the dictionary, but also we have Maskaka. We have 126,695 words that's today tagged and corrected, approved. So it's for so short time that we have the system. These are big numbers. We have only 36 documents that has been uploaded. I have some other documents that have been passed to me by Moreno and by the two Ahmedis, but they are too similar. So if it doesn't make sense that we put all the same books, if they are not adding anything new, in order to have the balance. We will be having what we will have when the corpus is ready. For example, we look for a word now. You will tell me a word, and then I will search that word. We want to understand that word, how it's used by the poets, how they use it by the proverbs and riddles, how it's used in the academia. You know, the Somali language, when it has been developed, words that used to have a meaning change their meaning. Last time I explained the word Laili. Laili today is understood as an exercise in Somali. Laili is kasame. I'm really happy to have my sisters, two of my sisters sitting there. And when I said Somali word, understanding what I am talking about. Thank you so much for coming. And not only the two of them, but we have also someone who has double hats, double communities, have Somali and Saho community. So I'm happy someone is understanding if I say one or two words in Somali. But if you look for the word Laili, today people will understand as an exercise, because of when it was introduced in the school system, it became Laili, it means exercise. But my generation and above, Laili would understand as a taming of the young camels, because that was the word as it used before it has been introduced in the school system. So the words change their meaning according to the time and period that we are talking about. So for that reason, we need really to take different times, documents with different times, so we can appreciate and document our language, how it used to be. So let me go back about the technical stuff. So as a current state of the art, we have only 36 selected written works, including 8 books. We have 25 articles, 2 constitutional law documents. The entire constitution, Eritrea constitution, in Saho language is in the system, which means that if you have terminology in law, you can get it within the system. So that was the reason why you are differentiating what we need. We have some collocations of 50 proverbs, and idioms. So we need really to add more and more, because of that's our base of thinking. And we have to get from the orality. We have some poems and collection of newspapers already in the system. With that, we produced 130,000 more or less tagged works. Most of them coming actually balanced, 42% from literary texts and 50% from non-literary written texts, more scientific words. I want to go and see. Here I searched a word. Ustad Ahmed Saad might help me. I don't want to pronounce wrongly. The word I looked for is waqti. In Somali, we would see waqti, which will be waqti. See? And then at the top side, you see the meaning of the word in English, which means time, moment, season. And then the interesting thing is this side box. I hope it's understandable what's written as a head. which means the words that are similar or meaning, we don't have words that has the same meaning in this system. But if you look here, we have how the word that I searched, in this case the word waqti, how it's used different from different systems, from different words, from different works, from poetry, whatever I had. So if I make more data in, I will be able to find someone who doesn't know the word waqti, not only the meaning, not only the synonym of the word that are similar to each other, but the way it is used. If it's a noun, what are the good adjectives that can go with that noun? If it is a verb, how this verb is used and variated, what does it call, inflected forms, whether the person is a male or female that is talking about. So the structure of the language, the grammatical, all these things will be included in the corpus that someone will use simply for spelling checker, but others will use as a learning the language, and others still will use to develop a technology for it, and others will be using in a way that the robots can speak or understand the language, or others still can use in a way to record as our oral society people who poets, who don't read and write, you give an app with this corpus, and they can record their poetry in the middle of nowhere, in the mountains, and you have the poem written and verified in Saho alphabet. You see how it's becoming useful if we build the instrument correctly, Marco. So this was an example. Maybe we'll see another example, then we will do one automatically. Still, the word I'm analyzing is waqti or waqti. And it still tells me in Italian, tempo, momento, stagione, for those who speak Italian. And then in English, waqti, what does it mean? It's a noun, it's a masculine noun, and time, moment, season, and so on. If I had words, if I know the original of the word, what they call etymology of the word, I could have filled that box at the top where I can understand this word, where it's coming from. But what is interesting that is I can trace back if this word, who was the first poet known who used this word. So you trace back, even in literature-wise, how many meanings this word has been used. Like the one that I explained, that one would understand the exercise, another understand the taming the camel, both of them the corpus giving me, indicating the time, era that I was speaking. So let me go the challenge. We have some challenges that we need to overcome. Some of them are technology side. So for example, disambiguation is a major challenge. That word, how it's written, and in the context, how it's used. You disambiguate the word that has similar meaning, whether I'm using in science or whether I'm using in, because of the word is written in the same form, but has a different meaning. Still, we don't have, we will overcome when we have more data and understand and I probably learn better Saho language, then probably the development of the technology will be also helpful. So this ambiguation of the basically thinking and understanding the meaning from the context instead of only the word will be, it's a challenge today. But what's a challenge for the system is the grammar checking for Saho language. It's too early because we have less information development. For that reason, we need people who are in Asmara, who are working at the ministry, to work with them and to editorial board to build strong knowledge for the grammar and how this can be interpreted technological wise. We are lacking of documents written. Now, I understand that less has been published with respect to the other languages, Ethiopian or Eritrean or East African or African languages. Saho is one of those who has less material published. I am talking about the major languages. So if that's not possible, what's the alternative? Use the system. When you are writing an email, write your email in Saho. It's a way of publishing and reviving your your language. Don't write or speak to your children in English if you have a chance to write for them in Saho. I know that young Somalilanders who came in so short time in Sweden, today write as well in Sweden, and they speak in a very difficult, far from language. But when you say, please write to Somali, they would say, oh no, I can't write Somali, I can't read. How on earth you can say that? In 3 months you learn so well in the Swedish and you can speak and write, and then you say that you can't write Somali. We shouldn't allow that attitude. So if we don't have books published in Saho in our head, so we have to transfer from our head in a written form. So write a message when you are leaving to your wife, a message at the kitchen in the morning and you are going out, write in Saho instead of writing in English. So that kind of responsibility should be on individual basis. So you can contribute even if we don't have work is published. So good written work is, and of course there is issue of copyright, but I think that we will discuss one, hopefully sometime we sit down with the team back in Asmara and see, because I don't know how the laws and copyright issues are working. So this is something that will come later when we are, for example, if we get a good novel published recently in Saho language and we want to put in the corpus, we have to have a way that's defining between the corpus management and the owner of the work, how the copyright issue will be working. So it's something always generic, but that we need to deal. So specifically for the Saho, for example, what I really, really need, and I don't know if we have anything available, a monolingual dictionary. All the dictionary that we have today are trilingual, Saho English, Saho Italian, Saho, and so on. And vice versa, but we need good monolingual dictionary, Saho. That's something fundamental because of we want that the computer speaks Saho. So if it's a dictionary which is explained in Saho, it will be difficult. I know there are many works that's going on. People are working, but something available. If you have anything, even 10 words that's explained, would be helpful. So pass to us. Of course, more data. We have some inconsistencies of data collected because of some of the data that you collect from social media. People write what they want. They don't feel the responsibility even when they are writing in Saho in a social media on Facebook in a comment. They write what they want, mixing with different languages and not checking the spelling of what they are writing. For that reason, we need back people who really, editorial people who, when data is collected automatically, then before it goes to the corpus, someone checks and approves. Some of the documents that we already added is for example, the store, is the constitution. We have some collection of proverbs. We have some documents, books from the curriculum, national curriculum. We have work is done by Evergari, Moreno and Roberta, Ahmed Saad, Giorgio Banti, and yes, I recorded some of the friends that I met here last time, recording their voice and then transcribe it because I want to test if the system is working when someone speaks in Saho, if the texts are coming from out. So some of your colleagues I recorded and asked to speak, just talking to me and recording and see if this is, and that's one of the things that I would love to do. This is another example, and the last example. I searched the work in Kidde, together, in Kidde, and then I get not only the definition, but how the word in Kidde is used. So this is the way that you will be using basically. You can search, any dictionary, you can search a word, and then that word, you understand how that word exists in our head and in the written form. But also you can use, giving the entire file, to do the spelling checking for you. So that's the two functions that people who are not technical, people who, like you, want to just use and contribute, they can add information. So one last thing, this is, I know that you might not see from distance, this is my mission Yes, now I'm working on the Saho. I working on Somali. Also, we had 7 million almost. The total word is tagged 7,376,000. But from the Cushitic, I targeted East Cushitic because I'm feeling the closeness, the family. So this is the family tree of the language. So we are Cushitic, East Cushitic, Lowland Cushitic. That's where split and Saho established. So as a broader language, Southern Lowland Cushitic, squalid nuclear Southern Lowland East Cushitic, Omotana families, and then Somali. So you see how the link between Somali and Saho exists. But the interesting thing, I worked a little bit on BISO as well, and I documented some of data on BISO. But unfortunately, the so-called Omotana family, which the Somali is the major language, it has BISO, Rendile, Dansanach, Abore, Awere, El Molo. These languages, today, 3 of them dead. No one speaks anymore. The last person who was speaking in El Molo passed away like 3-4 years ago. It was a lady. So that's the risk. It's not a theory, it's a practical. Because of these languages, the so-called Somali survived. BISO will be surviving, but Rendile actually will be surviving because there's a good number of people who speak, but already 3 of them disappeared. For that reason, it's really, really fundamental, and we believe that we have to do. So that's, again, Saho to closeness, and this is how the Somali is coming between Saho and Somali. So what you can do, this is the website to remember you. For those who use, you can download the app, I hope next week, so you can also use an app from Google or from Apple. But for now, go to somalicorpus.com/Saho, where you will see with the interface all in Saho language, and you can connect using the user ID and password Saho, S-A-H-O, user ID and password, and you will see the system, so you can test. The more you use, the interface is in Saho language, but you can also see in English. So when you connect and you use, you are contributing already to the system. And another way that you contribute, my Twitter, people are really using on communicating about Saho and talking about. So if you are on Twitter, try to access to my account, Jamamuse, @Jamamuse, and you will see many people who are contributing, commenting, making differences. So be part of that mission. We will be creating a handle specifically for the Corpus, but before you can use my account. So that's what I wanted to say. But I wanted to do some example how to search. I will leave that for you. Just go to somalicorpus.com/Saho, and then as a user ID password, put Saho, so you have the whole system. So do it by yourself. That helps also me to understand what we have done in terms of translating the interface, also makes sense for the people who speak Saho. So if you don't understand, that means we have problem. We 3 have problem. So we have to revise what we have, what we put. But please contribute. Please connect, contribute. If you have any document at home, if you have an electronic version, send to us, so we can add to the system. If you don't have electronic version, do a photo with your mobile if you don't have a scanner and send to us. Still we can add to the system. This, of course, if there is a privacy, we don't want to violate your privacy, so we don't want that you send us your secret letters between families added to the system, although it will never be able to get back, so no one will see the original text. We will take just the words. So no one can reconstruct the original sentence. So that's my invitation, and I hope with the wonderful that brothers Ahmed and Ahmed has done, coordinating and putting these groups, maybe in another 5 months, we will come up something really, really, really tangible, something different, inshallah, that each of us will be proud of. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah, Gura misga ubula, Naba maridi gakela, Bismillah. MashaAllah, 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 Gura misga ubula, Naba maridi gakela, Bismillah. My